District 11 first ever virtual spring conference, a week long of activities, of engagement, of transformation, of learning, and of fun. It is an honor to welcome you and to be a part of your journey. This has been a year like none other. There have been some things that maybe weren't what we expected. There have been some losses. There have been some bumps along the way. But I'm telling you, District 11, through all of that, we found a way for this year to be transformational and fun and meaningful to our members. Absolutely transformational, fun, and meaningful. Yes, give it up. When I think back to that day when Scott was saying, where is what? I never even heard of this little slider button. I actually have that same slider button. Who knew? Who knew how far we would come? And who knew all of the things that we would try this year? Absolutely a year of trying and succeeding, of being absolutely innovative, of finding ways to keep our connections with each other, to celebrate each other, and to continue to learn and grow together. This is a year of change like no other. And it would not be happening without you, without your willing spirits, without your encouragement, and without that attitude of, okay, we'll give it a try. And along the way, we found that sometimes we try, and I wouldn't really call it a fail, but a learning opportunity. And sometimes we try and we win big time. It's exciting to be part of those wins. It's exciting to find new ways to make connections. You know many of them, our Boost program, our Ambassador program, and just being able to gather together like this. Saving time on travel, that's pretty cool. Being able to attend events all over the district, all over the world, by sitting here in my living room with my tea, not even behind the wheel for 2 minutes. I'm right here, and you are right here with me. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for giving things a try. And thank you for being willing to bring forward ideas to try. We've got some surprises in store for you this week and beyond. There are surprises going on that I'm not even going to tell you about, but a few of you already know. We've got more good things planned, but this week especially is a week of celebration and of educational sessions. I'm excited about the week that has been put together. I want to acknowledge Scott for all of the efforts to make this week absolutely transformational, fun, and meaningful to all of you. I also want to acknowledge our regional advisor, Karen Isaacs, who has always been right behind us whenever we need advice, encouragement, or just words of wisdom. Thank you, Karen, so much for supporting all of District 11. There are so many of you that I could call out individually. Each one of you have contributed to the culture that we are creating in District 11. May it continue to be strong. May it continue to be fun, and may it continue to transform your experiences professionally, personally, all of that and more. Thank you, Scott, for putting together a fantastic week. I'm turning it back over to you so you can share a little bit more detail about each and every evening this week. Thank you, Scott. Great job.
Thank you so much, Jean. It is without a doubt an honor to be able to do this year. So let me start by asking you all this. How many of you ended up kind of getting used to, kind of liking the fact that we didn't have to drive anywhere in order to go to conferences, in order to go to meetings? It kind of got nice, didn't it? How many of you are dressed from the waist up right now and have on sweatpants or something below? Absolutely. I have no idea what I'm going to wear once we get back in real life, because I don't think that shorts and a suit jacket is a look that anyone wants to have out in the real world. But I'm rocking it right now, and I'll be rocking it again all week long. But that's just kind of what we ended up doing this year. So by show of hands, how many of you enjoyed when we did all of our club officer training online this year? You know that we ended up more than doubling our attendance when it came to club officer training this year. Over 75% of all of our club officers got trained. And that's a big deal. And here, this is the one thing I think is one of the huge takeaways from this year. The fact that 75% of our club officers got trained, we're going to feel that for years to come. Because all of a sudden we have clubs that the officers all know not just what they're supposed to do, but what each other is supposed to do, because they all came to our round tables were a huge hit. I had no idea that was going to be a big thing. Our first roundtables last year maximized Zoom. One, we didn't know that there was a limit. Apparently you can only have 100. We've learned that now. All kinds of things we've learned this year, and we took all of that and tried to put it into a program for you for this week to be able to give back and to make this a celebration and a learning opportunity for everybody. How many of you are really looking forward to spending 6 hours on Zoom in one day? How many of you wake up in the morning and go, I want to sit at my computer for 6 more hours? Patty does. If you have a Zoom meeting you don't want to go to, call Patty. Patty will take the call for you. She will do that. But the fact that nobody wants to sit in front of their computer for 6 more hours at a time, that's why we chose to break up the conference into 6 days instead of just 2 days. Because if we try to do everything on just Friday and Saturday, we can't really have conflicting sessions that much. So we would have been starting at 6 o'clock in the morning and finishing at 11 o'clock at night. I know, because that's how we started the first agenda. And I looked at it and went, we like these people. This is mean. Let's not do this. And that's how we ended up with an entire week of a spring conference instead of just 1 day of a spring conference. So this week is going to look a little bit different from what other weeks may have looked like in the past. Our week this week is going to be headlined by a couple of people. How many of you know who Mark Brown is? Has anybody heard Mark Brown speak before? How many of you were mesmerized the last time you heard Mark Brown speak? Of all my favorite Toastmasters, Carl has a picture with him that is that is an eBay-worthy picture without a doubt. Of all my favorite speakers that I have heard over the past decade, I would say that Mark is probably my second or third favorite speaker ever of all of them. Not Toastmasters speakers, but all speakers in all genres everywhere. I absolutely love listening to Mark. And Mark is going to join us on Saturday night for a keynote. The night before, we get Melissa McGavick, our international director, and she is going to share her keynote with us Friday night. For the entire week, first of all, everyone can see this, correct? Because I all of a sudden can't see anybody else but myself.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you, Carla. For some reason, the only box I can see right now is me. So the way this week starts, tonight we start with kind of an opening. We were going to do flag ceremonies. We meant that we were going to try to do a parade of flags, which is fantastic live. We came into a huge problem when it came to doing a parade of flags virtually. When I started reaching out to clubs to ask them, hey, do you know where your flag is? I didn't find a single club that was like, yes, I know exactly where we put our flag a year ago when we went into quarantine. Everyone was like, well, I wonder who took that. So we're not going to do a parade of flags tonight, largely because the amount of flags that we even know where they are is a little bit minuscule right now. So we're going to be asking everybody over the course of the next year, let's go find some flags. Or as Sheldon Cooper would say, let's have fun with flags. Tonight we start our educational sessions. And we have two educational meetings, two educational sessions tonight. First, we kick off the conference with Louis Cheney, who's going to talk about the proficiency of deficiency of Toastmasters, which is really a fancy way of saying getting out of your own way and getting unstuck from where you are in your Toastmasters journey. And then we're going to go into Jen Kutzinger, who is going to talk about the treasures of a company club, because we know that sometimes our corporate clubs get taken for granted a little bit. We know that they're a little bit different and they operate a little bit differently, but we don't always figure out how to maximize them for everybody. How many of you have been to a corporate club in the last 6 months? Jane, I hope you raise your hand because that's the only thing that you have right now. Same with Matthew. One of the things that we found over the past 6 months is that our corporate clubs aren't just great places for Toastmasters to learn how to facilitate and to speak in a whole new world, but they are fantastic ways for organizations to find talent for their next leaders, for those people that are investing in themselves and doing something far beyond what they thought they would ever do. And our corporate clubs, when you mine the talent of corporate clubs, what you're really doing is you're saying we are mining the next generation of leaders, not just for Toastmasters, but for every organization out there that sponsors a corporate club. And we're going to explore that a little bit tonight at 8 o'clock with Jen. She is going to walk us through how that works and some of the experiences that she has had with her corporate clubs. Tomorrow, we have a first-timers welcome. How many of you remember the first time that you were at a Toastmasters convention, a Toastmasters meeting? Anyone remember the first time you were there? Anybody have a good story about the first time you were there? So the first time that I was at a Toastmasters convention was my first year as a Toastmaster. It was also the first time I made the district finals and evaluations. I'd only been a Toastmaster for 5 months, 6 months. And I went there, and there were a couple of things that nobody told me before I got there. Like, one, I should have probably paid to go to that. Nobody said, hey, this is a paid event. Second, you're supposed to buy dinner. So I ended up not being able to get in and not being able to eat. I had to leave and go down the street to McDonald's to have dinner before I competed in the district finals for evaluations because we didn't communicate all of that. Everyone just assumed, like, everyone here has been around for a while. Everyone knows how this works. And no, that wasn't the case. So at a virtual conference, how many of you have been to a Toastmasters virtual conference before? If you didn't go last year to the Toastmasters International Virtual Conference, you probably didn't go to one if you're in District 11. So we are doing a first-timers event tomorrow night for a couple of reasons. One, we want to give Toastmasters that are brand new or first time that they're really getting involved an opportunity to meet other long-term Toastmasters. That's one of the great things that happens at every conference we have. You get to meet people. When I first moved here from Florida, going to the conference was huge because I didn't know anybody really, and going there was the first time I had a chance to interact and meet people face to face outside of Fort Wayne. It was a massive connection point for me, and it's one reason why I'm sitting here today, because if I hadn't gone to that conference, I wouldn't have met the people I did who said, you should probably think about doing something more. That's why we do these meet and greets. That's why we do these things like first-timers events. The other thing is, if you're a first-timer at a conference, how many of you found your first Toastmasters meeting confusing? Anybody have a bell in the first club they went to? First club I belonged to, the Articulators in Florida, had a bell. So every time somebody said or a bell rang. I didn't know what that was for. It was like Clarence was getting his wings every 17 seconds. The most confusing thing I've ever had. People were standing up and sitting down and walking to the front and shaking hands, and we clapped incessantly for everything. I had no idea what was happening. But over time, we just kind of accepted what was going on and we kind of figured out how things worked and it became comfortable. Well, the same thing holds true for our conferences. How many of you have been to more than one Toastmasters conference? How many of you just kind of know, like when you go, you're like, these are the things that just kind of happen, right? Well, this year, these aren't the things that kind of happen because all of us are dressed from the waist up. We're sitting in our own offices and living rooms, and we have our own tea. So a couple of good things happen. One, the food's better because we can control it. Two, the drinks are either cold when they're supposed to be cold or warm when they're supposed to be warm. Those are incredible advantages, but we don't understand why we do all this other stuff that we do. The Saturday's business meeting is just confusing. If you've been there before, it's confusing. If you've never been there before, it's just organized chaos. So we're going to do a meeting tomorrow, first timers, to try to give them some connections and also to explain what we're doing all week, because it just doesn't always make sense to why we do some of the things that we do. And then after we do that, we have a couple more sessions tomorrow night. Chris Fleming is going to talk about mentoring circles. Sometimes we don't have enough mentors for our clubs. Sometimes we have more people that need mentors than we have mentors. And especially in a year when so many clubs lost valuable mentors for one reason or another, valuable members, all of a sudden we need a new way to be able to create mentoring circles, a mentoring program that engages individuals and helps them work through Toastmasters, both for the programs and also for what they're going to do outside of Toastmasters. And then we're going to go from that into Matthew Staten is going to present how feedback can change your life, which is all about delineating how feedback is important, but purposeful feedback in the form of evaluations are even more important. And then he's going to walk us through what it means to give and receive feedback and the skills that we need to be able to do those things. On Wednesday, we're going to come back and do a Pathways question and answer session. It's a round table. It's going to be myself and Adele. We are going to do a round table Wednesday at 6 o'clock, because I am sure there is not a single person out there that knows someone in a club that doesn't have a question about Pathways. I am sure by now everybody is perfectly accepting of Pathways, right? No questions at all. Nobody gets stuck. I'm hoping you're rolling your eyes at this point, because from the amount of questions I get, I know that's not true. That's why we're doing a round table. Did you like the round tables this year where we came and let you to direct the conversations? How many of you like round tables this year? Absolutely. So the round table on Wednesday, the guide is how do we make Pathways better for you? How do we answer your questions and help guide you a little bit in using Pathways, not just for what you do in Toastmasters, but for what you do outside of Toastmasters, because none of us join Toastmasters to be a better Toastmaster. We all join Toastmasters to be better at something else. And then Wednesday night, we have two more presentations. Deep T is going to present effectively exercising the power of the club presidency. And it's really about how all club officers can effectively influence change and culture within their clubs. Something we tend to overlook a little bit, that it's not just we fill a position, but what do we get from the position and what can we do with a position within Toastmasters organizations? And then we're going to, at 8 o'clock, talk to Trent Deckard, the power, persuasion, motivation, audience, and you. He is our only returning presenter from the Great Education series from last spring. How many of you remember the Great Education series last spring? So once the conference kind of went away last year, when we realized we were going to all be stuck in our houses, we pulled together a bunch of the speakers that we were expecting to either present there or were going to compete there, and we had them give education sessions. At the last minute, actually about 6 days ago, if not actually 4 days ago, our presenter for Wednesday at 8 o'clock had to back out because of a personal conflict. We called Trent and said, hey, do you want to give us the rest of the story? And he said, absolutely. I cannot wait to give you the rest of the story. I already have it. And then 20 minutes later, I got off the phone with him and realized there was a lot more to the story that he wanted to give, and just give him a microphone and he's off. Trent's a professor of motivation. He teaches business and motivation for Indiana University. So all of you Purdue folks out there, I'm really sorry, but this is an IU professor who's going to talk to us. But he is going to give us the rest of the story that he started to give us last year about motivation and you. That's the bulk of the education part. So the first half of the week, education. The second half of the week is more about celebration. The first thing we're going to celebrate in the second half of the week, Thursday, is going to be something that we have never done here in the district before that I think is really valuable, especially because we aren't able to get out and as candidates meet people anywhere. So we're going to have another first timers event for 30 minutes just to kind of help people again connect a little bit. Then we have a district officer candidate showcase from 6:30 to 8. 6:30 to 8. What that means is you're going to have an opportunity for an hour and a half, an hour to an hour and a half, to be able to listen to the district officers whom are candidates, answer the questions that you've pre-submitted. There's a format that's in place that TI uses. There's going to be one person at a time called out of breakout rooms, and we're going to answer your questions. So it is everyone running for district director, program quality director, club growth director, and the district and the division directors are going to all be available to be able to answer questions. I think almost everybody who is an announced candidate is going to be there. So if you ever wanted to know something about these individuals, because we weren't able to get to your clubs because we couldn't get to any clubs this year, it's a great time to be able to go learn a little bit about the candidates and maybe make a little bit more of an informed decision. Something fantastic to be able to add a little bit more information and value to the whole election process. And then after that, we go into the masked speaker finals. So we go from candidate showcase to masked speaker finals. How many of you have been to the masked speaker so far? Nancy, how long has your face hurt after you've left the masked speaker from laughing? It takes me a good hour before my cheeks start to kind of relax again from the amount that I laugh. Same way, Nancy?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it is an absolutely wonderful program we put together with the masked speaker. If you haven't been there yet, you've got to come to the finals because all of our masked speakers are back. All 6 of them are speaking on Thursday. And we get the chance to hear the best of speeches. And then best of all, we get to unmask all 6 of them, all 6 of them. So how many of you think you know who the other ones are that we haven't unmasked yet? Lou's like, Nancy, you should be nodding your head because you've been really good at figuring these folks out every week. She's like, I don't think so. I think you do. And you're just not willing to tell us that. You're going to, you're just going to surprise us with your amazing answers at the end. So mass speaker finals Thursday nights. After we get past Thursday nights, after we get past the mass speaker, then we get into the things that are traditional for district conferences. We have an open networking event at 6 o'clock on Friday, which is just an opportunity for all of us to come together. We're going to use breakout rooms to group people together into groups of 2, 3, 4, to give an opportunity just to talk and get to know some folks a little bit better. Because we know we don't have that chance this year to be able to really go out and talk to people. At 7 o'clock, we start with a keynote. Melissa McGavick, our international director for Region 6, is going to be delivering Building a Better You, integrating Toastmasters into your personal and professional life. It's almost like we've talked about that already, that's kind of a big theme for why we're doing all of this year. Then at 8 o'clock, the speech evaluation competition finals. The speech evaluation competition finals at 8 o'clock. We'll actually gavel down right around 8:15 or so. We won't gavel down right at 8 o'clock, probably about 8:15, because we'll have to spend a little bit of time going from the keynote into the competition and making sure that all of the speakers are present, that their audio works, their microphones work, they have video, they're on the internet, all of that kind of stuff. So we have been able to put that together for Friday nights. And I have to admit, I am really jealous because until I came to Indiana, I was in the evaluation finals every year for 6 straight years. So it's really weird to not be in the evaluation final, but to be hosting an evaluation final, which is really kind of a different concept. It's a very different way to look at it. And I'm extremely excited for what we put together this year. We have a fantastic program for Friday for you. And then on Saturday, we have a full day. We start with Heritage. Heritage is coming to us live from London, making online presentations more exciting, more engaging at 10 o'clock in the morning. So Heritage is going to kick us off that morning. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to have an award ceremony and a remembrance celebration, both for everyone who achieved awards this year, like Triple Crowns and DTMs, and also remember some of the Toastmasters that we've lost this year. At 1 p.m., we start the business council meeting. We hope it won't last for 4 hours. We're hoping that it only lasts for a couple of hours. How many of you really want us to only have it last for a couple of hours? Anybody out there want a business meeting for 4 hours? Then Jean's like, no, no. I can hear her on mute. She's coming through loud and clear. That is a no. So business meeting is on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. And then at 6 o'clock, we do a hybrid basics because we're going to be starting to get back into doing hybrid meetings. And we have a roundtable discussion with some of the clubs that have been doing hybrids for a few months now. And then that night, 7 o'clock, Stronger Together, presented by Mark Brown, the 1995 world champion of public speaking, one of my all-time favorite speakers in any genre. And then at 8 o'clock, we go into the international speech competition. Again, we should gavel down the competition right about 8:15. That is your week. That is a lot of stuff this week. There is a lot of stuff packed into a week. Who's excited for some of this stuff? Anybody excited to go to a few of these sessions? Absolutely. I cannot wait to hear a bunch of these speakers. I am so excited to be able to present this, so excited to be able to hear all of this. But most of all, I'm excited that in a year that we could have easily just kind of thrown in the towel and said, we're going to do the bare minimum, we said, how do we kick this up and make this even better? What do we do this year so that when you walk away, you said, 2020 might have given us lemons, but I'll tell you what, District 11 makes some mighty sweet lemonade. And we're walking away, not just with a little bit of lemonade. Carla Billups, that is not a fair picture to be having in your background. I am so jealous. That is a great opportunity for us to be able to just do something different and just show what it takes to, when you have something that pops up in front of you, when you have that challenge, how do you turn that challenge, instead of looking at it as an obstacle, to look at it as an opportunity? And all of you this year have done that. You've looked at this year as an opportunity to learn and grow. I encourage you to do a couple of things. One, if you're interested in all of the stuff that we did this year, absolutely go to the District 11 website, and there is an educational recording there for everything we've done this year. All 85 hours of our educational sessions that we've hosted this year is on the District 11 website under the educational platform. Second thing you should do is, well, one, you should know we recorded this one. So we're recording the entire week except for Mark Brown's keynotes. We don't have authorization to record Mark's keynote. It's kind of his job, but he kind of wants to be able to make money at the things that people pay him for and to not leak those things so that we get them for free. I can kind of see his point. I mean, how dare him want to actually feed himself after all these years? That's so selfish, I think. Instead, we are going to be recording everything else because we want to make sure that we give you the best value present that we can possibly do. Second thing, go like our District 11 Facebook page. We have a public Facebook page out there and a private Facebook page out there. Go to the private one where we post everything for members. We have synopsises of every single session out there, of every single presenter out there, of everything happening this week. Go find the stuff that's out there. Go put it into your calendars. All of this was also sent to all of your to all of your district leaders. So your area directors got it, your division directors got it, your district leaders got it, and all of your club officers also received that same schedule. It is all out there. So please go out, take a look, like some stuff, put it in your calendar, and come join us. Come join us this week. Celebrate a year that has been transformational in so many ways for so many of us. And let's kick off the end of the year. Not in terms of, gosh, I'm glad this is over, but oh my word, I can't believe what we did. And I wish we had more time. I want this week to be the week that you walk away saying, I want to do that again. Let's do that again. So that's the week. Who has questions about what's happening this week? What can we answer for you about what's happening, when, where, why, and how? If you come up with questions, you know where we are. Call, email, fax, write a letter, send a carrier pigeon. I urge against smoke signals, especially if it's snowing, but just get in touch with us. We're more than happy to answer any question we can at any point. And with that, it is my honor and my privilege to return control of this meeting back to our illustrious District Director, Gene Phillips. Where did you get that from?
I don't know, but it's okay. Thank you, Scott. As you can tell, we have a fantastic week planned for you. And you know what makes it super special is you being there. You get to pick and choose, just as if you were at a live conference. I have been one who, on rare occasion, might have missed a session here or there, but it was my choice, and it's still your choice. Pick out the things that will just delight you, that you are curious about, that you can learn from. And you know what? For every session that I might have slipped out on, I missed out. Don't miss out this week. Fantastic presenters, fantastic celebrations, and fantastic fellowship with all of you. I would encourage you, Scott gave you a list of things to be thinking about and doing. Add this to your list. Invite others. Invite others. Your friends, your family, especially to Mass Speaker. Oh my goodness. What a great family event. Start the popcorn, put the slippers on. You could even come up with your own mask because we love audience participation. Invite others, invite your Toastmaster colleagues so that they don't miss out on an educational opportunity, on a celebration, on fellowship with each other. It's going to be a fantastic week, and I'm excited about it. I don't think I'll be slipping out on too many of the sessions this week because they're too good to miss, right? Join me for a fantastic week. Invite others and be ready to be transformed, to have some fun, and to get some benefit out of this week. Karen, would you like to say a few words of encouragement? Karen Isaacs, our regional advisor. Let's hear from you tonight.
Why, thank you, Jean. Thank you for this opportunity to celebrate with District 11. And like Jean and Scott mentioned, you know, it's a year that's so different from any year we've ever have experienced. But the things you guys have done over the year, all of the unique and innovative, I love the roundtable education sessions. Those are fantastic. Celebrating your victories earlier this year. You know, you guys have certainly raised the bar this year. So I encourage you to continue to learn and grow. Spring conferences are often a way that you can learn and network and grow in so many ways. So I encourage you to have a great week, attend as many of the sessions as you can, and share what you've learned with others. Many times, you know, we take it in, but we don't always share it with our fellow club members. So I encourage you to take it in like a sponge and to take it back to your family, friends, and your club members. So thank you so much for having me here today. I wish you the best, and I'll turn it back over to Jean.
Thank you, Karen. Thanks for that encouragement. And what a great reminder about sharing the wisdom and the information and the news and the celebrations with others. Let's not keep it to ourselves. Let's share all of that fantastic experience with others, whether they can attend or not. We have a lot to share. I'm excited about the rest of this evening and the rest of this week. We have about 20 minutes until our next session starts. Anything else that we want to cover for this evening? Scott?
I think we've covered most of it tonight, but I think we left out a voice. So there's somebody else on the trio that we've not heard from. Absolutely. Dave Parnan, our club growth director this year, who was so kind to step into a role halfway through the year, a role that I have to admit he was kind of voluntold to do, and he did so willingly and happily and enthusiastically, and has only told me that I voluntold him a half a dozen times, which is, I think, completely fair. So Dave, any thoughts on the week?
I'll have to say I went kicking and screaming. Seriously, I started the year as as you would say, a plain old Toastmaster. And here I am today. I would say, whoever you are, look around at your leaders, the people who run your clubs, the people who are your area directors, the people who are your division directors. I've heard it said that anybody can manage when times are good, but it shows real skill to manage and lead when times are bad. And this has been a bad year. It's been a struggle, but here we are. Look at the leaders you've got now. And if you haven't been in a leadership position before, consider it. Toastmasters is about speaking and leadership. But often leadership is expressed as management. And if you look at people like Scott and Jean, they're people who really have led us through the troubled times. And yes, maybe you encouraged me to step up in a year where it would have been nice to kick back, work from home, and be with my cats who suddenly aren't here, but have attended more Toastmasters meeting than any other felines in the state. So, but let's try to build on what we have seen and what we're going to learn this week. Take it back. Don't just hear it, use it, and encourage others to step up, because otherwise we'll just have the same thing by the same people doing the same thing. And they're good people. They've done good things, but other people might have other ideas too. So it's a great chance. But so grow in Toastmasters, grow in your leadership. Scott, back to you.
Thank you so much, Dave. And Dave, thank you so much for stepping into a really tough year in an awkward situation. And thank you so much for everything you've done this year. You have been an example that many have followed, because we have had club after club that have officers and leaders right now that weren't there at the beginning of the year. That one thing or another happened, and folks stepped in and led us in different ways this year. We cannot be more proud of all of that happened this year. So we'd love to give you about 20 minutes, about 15 minutes or so, to be able to go take a bio break, to refresh your drinks, to get unstale cookies, because we can get those at our homes that we don't necessarily get in conference centers. Maybe go get some fruit. Maybe go pour an adult beverage to listen to keynote speeches for the rest of the night, because nothing is better than a fantastic speech with a fantastic beverage. So everyone, thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. We are so glad you're here tonight. We're going to call this session done. We're going to give you about 15 minutes. We will get started at the top of the hour. So we have 19 minutes until we get to kick off with Lewis Cheney, who will be our first educational speaker, our first educational keynote of the week. And we cannot wait to hear him. I cannot wait to hear him. He is if you've never heard Lewis, he is a phenomenal speaker and really an interesting guy. And when you put those together, it's a perfect person to kick off the week. So we will see you all in about 19 minutes.
Hey, Scott, can you hear me?